just taken this title. She's absolutely obliterated the whole field. 3:52.96.
It's a big stage, big names and big expectations. An immersive celebration of athleticism. More than 2,000 athletes from over 200 countries will compete in 49 events. Drawing inspiration from past memorable outings, Team Kenya is looking ahead for a remarkable feat in the forthcoming World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary in Central Europe. Witness the wonders from Budapest, Hungary on 19th through to the 27th of August, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. My name is Irene. Muchuma Odem. On sign language interpretation, we have Brian Muraru. It is the 14th day in the month of August 2023, a couple of hours to the devolution conference in the county of Uasin Gishu and in the county of Nairobi. Bipartisan talks between the Azimio la Umoja Coalition and Kenya Kwanza has begun at the Bomas of Kenya. We have able teams on the ground. But for now, let's interact on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. We begin from the Bomas of Kenya, where we are having the bipartisan talks between the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio la Umoja Coalition. But for now, we also look at other issues at the Bomas of Kenya, where the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Panina Malonza, is signing her contracts.
Increase visitor numbers, boost revenue, and create more employment opportunities for our citizens. We envision a Kenya where tourism isn't just a sector, but a force that drives development across various industries. By investing in infrastructure, promoting unique experiences, and enhancing marketing strategies, we can position Kenya as a top-tier global destination. Wildlife conservation remains close to our hearts. Our unique ecosystem are home to incredible biodiversity that needs our protection. Through partnerships, innovative technology, and community involvement, we will combat poaching, habitat loss, and other threats to our wildlife. Our commitment to conservation extends beyond borders. We will continue to lead the fight against illegal wildlife trade on the international stage. And as you are aware, I was elected the next president for the next 2 years for Lusaka Agreement. And therefore, we will be joining forces not only with the East African countries, but also with the other African countries to fight illegal trade in wildlife trophies. Ladies and gentlemen, preserving our heritage is preserving our identity. Our cultural richness is a wellspring of pride and unity. We will work tirelessly to safeguard our archaeological sites, traditions, and languages. And at this juncture, I would love to congratulate the country of Kenya and especially my ministry, and more so the Principal Secretary of Heritage, for having won the Global Award of the global villages of UNWTO at Mauritius 2 weeks ago. We will work by engaging with local communities and promoting responsible tourism practices. We can ensure that our heritage remains vibrant and intact. As we embark on this journey, let us keep in mind that each contract signed today is a pledge to the people of Kenya and to our President of this nation, a pledge to uphold the highest standards of accountability, transparency, and dedication. Let us remember also that our actions today shape the Kenya of tomorrow that we want, a Kenya that thrives, a Kenya that cherishes its natural wonders, and a Kenya that stands tall on the global stage. In conclusion, I extend my deepest gratitude to all those who have contributed to the preparation of these performance contracts. Your dedication to our country's prosperity is commendable. Let us work forward with renewed vigor, steadfast in our commitment to building a better Kenya for all.
Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Pelina Malonza, there at the Bomas of Kenya. Now, still on performance contracts, the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, Aisha Jumwa, has urged officials in her ministry to work collaboratively to create a space that effectively serves its citizens. Speaking during an event of signing of performance contracts for departments under her ministry, Aisha said the signing of the contracts was a sign of commitment to fully execute their mandate. She noted that the performance contracts signed will accord the departments with the opportunity to implement targets that they have set, noting this will also help fast-track service delivery to Kenyans.
The performance contract that we are signing, or we have just signed, with the principal secretaries and the respective chairpersons of our corporations under our ministry, will accord all of us the opportunity to implement performance targets that are aligned to the ministry's key priorities, the Kenya Kwanza administration plan, and indeed the government national development agenda.
And we also have a new mandate under the executive order, which is the establishment of the Gender Violence Protection Centers, which will also continue to address the issue of reduction of gender-based violence.
We have to work together, we have to support each other so that we realize these pieces. We must have concrete evidence of the achievements that we have made. The biggest problem is where officers say we have done it and there is no evidence to show.
To security concerns, residents of Mbiri Ward in Murang'a County are calling on security operators to expedite investigations and rescue them from the claws of a notorious criminal who has been terrorizing them for months. The locals decry the numerous attacks, including being robbed of their money, phones and electronic appliances. Some have even been left nursing injuries inflicted on them during the robberies.
Criminal has been causing residents of Mbiri Ward in Murang'a County sleepless nights. For months now, they live in constant fear. Mercy Modoni, a businesswoman from Muthigiriri area, is one such victim. She narrates how the thug not only took off with her savings amounting to 50,000 Kenyan shillings, but also physically attacked her family, leaving her teenage son with severe cuts.
Itisha pesa, simu, tukampea. Immediately wakati aliona nimempea pesa, alitoka tu. Ilikuwa over 50k.
Fuata pali nilikuwa nimeketi, akakuja akanigoga na shoka ya kichwa. Kutoka hapo nikasikia nimekosa nguvu, nikasikia kizuguzugu. Pali nilikuwa nimeketi, akakuwa amepewa pesa kwa sababu walipoona nimegogwa, walipeana hata ile pesa walikuwa nayo.
The man, who is described as physically intimidating, has equally made similar attempts at a neighboring Kamairo village, where Mwangi Kamau, a lawyer, faced a similar predicament after being sprayed on the face with petrol.
Mmoja ambaye alikuwa amebaki hapa na aligonga hii kioo. Hii amebaki anagonga na shoka. Na mimi kwa bahati mzuri nilikuwa nimekaa hapa. Sasa mimi sikutoroka. Nikamwambia ndugu yangu kunja sasa tuonane wanaume. Mimi kwa wewe. Alikuwa na chupa hii ya maji ametomboa mashimo kidogo pale mbele. Anamwaga petroli, mimi namwaga maji. Akimwaga, mimi natupa maji.
Residents further lamenting the suspect, who they say goes by the nickname Muranga Axeman, is still at large even after filing numerous reports to the police. A number of residents are said to have vacated their homes out of fear.
Mtu mmoja mkora anasumbua sisi hapa, na hapo ndio tunaomba serikali iingilie kati, itafute huyo mtu, ni mtu anajulikana na kwenye anaishi huko Majoice watu wanajua. Sasa ile kitu sisi tunaomba ni serikali ifuatilie, sababu hiyo kitu yote imeaffect hata kazi yetu.
A family in Thika, Kiambu County, is demanding the arrest of a police officer alleged to have assaulted their kin. Martin Mwaura Mwangi claims the officer hit him with a walking stick at his place of business in Como village after he declined to part with a bribe of 100 shillings. Meet Martin Mwaura. According to Mwaura, he was assaulted by a police officer at his darts training center in Como village, Thika, Kiambu County. Mwaura says the police officer grabbed his walking stick and hit him with it several times after he declined to part with a bribe.
Mguu yangu ilikuwa imefujika for 3 months. Sasa ndio na recover. Sasa nilikuwa natembea na walking stick. Nikasikia mtu amenyang'anya walking stick yangu. Kumwangalia hivi, hata hakuniongelesha, hakunipea nafasi. Nisikia tu mtu amenigonga kichwa, nikakuwa unconscious.
Mwaura, who is now nursing wounds on the head, legs and hands, said that the officer had visited businesses where he demanded for a 100 shillings bribe.
Wauga chini kumwangalia hivi, naona ni yule askari amekuja kwangu kitu 3 days kunitiza pesa kwa dashboards. Nikamwambia pige patrol kidogo, akuje baadaye ndampea yake ya chai. Juu alikuwa anasema anataka kikombe cha chai. Akaniuliza maswali kama darts yangu iko na license. Nikamwambia hii dart ni ya runners. After wakijua kucheza darts nitawaletea barua na kila kitu. Lakini saa hii ya runners hata si wachaji kitu yote.
The family to the victim is now seeking justice for their son.
Sheria askari yeye anafaa kukushika na kupeleka cell, lakini si kushika hata kama una hatia alafu na kuvunja namna hii.
Hilo jambo linastahili lichukuliwe hatua, maana wakaaji wa hapa wanataka kitu kinaitwa amani.
Kwa amani tushirikiane kwa umoja na kwa undugu. Wawe marafiki zetu na sisi tuwe marafiki zao.
Speaking to Channel 1 on phone, Thika East Sub-County Police Commander Andrew Thora said investigations are ongoing and both the officer and Mwaura have recorded statements with the police.
Amepewa P3 aende hospitali, so tunafanya uchunguzi.
Security matters to the Bomas of Kenya, where bipartisan talks are underway. My colleague Abdihaziz Hashim is on that bit. Abdi, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon to you as well. Good afternoon to you as well, Irene, Muchuma. Thank you so much for coming to the Bomas of Kenya. This is what we have been covering for the better part of this particular morning. Of course, the Azimio leaders as well as the Kenya Kwanza leaders this morning flocked to the Bomas of Kenya to continue the round 2 of talks that kick-started last week. If you do remember last week, they were unable to reach on the agenda. So this particular morning, we were anticipating the chairs, that is Kimani Ichung'wah, the majority leader of the National Assembly, as well as the Wiper Party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, to come up with tackling. So far, that has not been the case. They have just briefed us 30 minutes ago, informing us that they are yet to agree on the agenda of that particular meeting. The technical committees on both sides, unfortunately, were unable to come with a synchronized agenda that was supposed to kickstart this conversation this particular morning. Even we went as far as asking them if we should stick around so that they can address us later in the day, but they've said there is no need for that, given that the team itself has not come up with the agendas. The reason as to why is because Azimio and Kenya Kwanza have 5 different issues on the table. Of course, we do understand the Azimio leaders are clamoring for the cost of living, which has led to 3 cycles of anti-government protest. However, Kenya Kwanza have clearly maintained that that is a no-go zone issue, and as well as the issue of inclusivity. You have heard it from the head of state himself and other leaders from the Kenya Kwanza in his 5-day tour of the Mount Kenya region, saying clearly, in other words, that there will be no nusu mkate government. That has been the stance of the government. Well, the ODM leader, as well as the Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, clearly stating that they do not want any part of the Kenya Kwanza government. That was the only thing they have agreed to so far. But the issue of the cost of living is at the heart of the disagreement between the two coalition. It remains to be seen, Irene and our dear viewers, if these particular members will come to that particular issue of discussing what we do understand with certainty, what they can discuss this particular morning, and in the course of this particular 1-month period they have given themselves of the month of August, is the embedment of the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office into the Constitution, the official creation of the opposition leader, as well as the matter of CDF, and finally the 2/3 gender of representation when it comes to seeking offices in every electioneering cycle. That is what so far we have been able to gather. We also do understand that the Azimio leaders, of course, members have been guided by the ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga to stick on that particular issue. So we do understand there will be back and forth between the two members of the team on that particular issue of the cost of living. That has been the bone of contention between the two, and of course that's why we have seen 3 cycles of demonstration from for the better part of last month and early this particular month. We've even heard the ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga clearly stating that even if the talks will not be successful, they'll be back on the street once more, but that is a matter of wait and see. There's this issue of memorandums being brought to this particular committee. We witnessed it last week with a Tiati member of parliament, that is William Kamket, who was proposing the additional of counties, 56 counties to be exact. We currently have 47. He's arguing if the members of the bipartisan committee are touching on the embedment of the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the office of the opposition leader. Mind you, those are offices not even constitutionally recognized. That is why they want to embed it in the Constitution. The MP is arguing if they're going to touch on a Constitution, that means a referendum. So there are a number of issues that they would like to review before the Constitution is fully implemented. The 2010 Constitution is also yet to be fully implemented. Today we witnessed a resident coming all the way from Homa Bay County trying to petition the members to include the bipartisan talks, not just politicians, but include the religious leaders, to include other institutions or professional bodies that are not within the constitute of the political realm, as well as the government. And the Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has clearly stated that that is a matter they will take under review so that they can bring on board those particular leaders. We do know that for the better part of the last 2 months, the religious leaders have been clamoring to include this particular discussions, other members, so that, of course, for the embedment of the 54 million, so that the talks can go forward and something can come out of this particular issue. Also, the issue of what is on the table for the Kenyans in this particular talks is yet to come out. Hopefully, during the course of this particular talks, we'll see if the issue of the ordinary Kenyan, who is the Mwananchi, will be brought out. Back to you, Irene.
Thank you, Abdi Aziz Hashim, reporting live from the Bomas of Kenya, where the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja coalition are having bipartisan talks. Now, in other news, making headlines this afternoon, the government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring more than 5,000 government services are offered through the government's digital platforms. Speaking during a memorandum of understanding signed between the Ministry of Interior and the United Nations Development Programme, Immigration and Citizen Services Permanent Secretary Julius Bichok said that they are on track ahead of the launch of the Universal Personal Identifier, which has been slated for the 2nd of October.
The Going Digital Identity Initiative, which began 4 months ago, is centered around 3 objectives.
To come up with an upgrade of the current card into a smart card, which meets the ICAO standard, and that's where UN comes in. The third one is to create a digital ID. In going forward, it will not be necessary again to carry your ID. With your phone, you'll have your digital ID.
This digital transformation seeks to incorporate every citizen in all government services, regardless of their geographical location and social orientation.
Because digital identity, or EID specifically, and here we're referring to the ability for an online authentication between the citizen and the service provider, right? And that's different from digital identity, which is basically a card with a chip.
The PS at the same time lauded partners like the United Nations Development Programme for coming on board in implementing this project.
UNDP, I'm happy to note, that has helped more than 25 countries to go through the journey of digital identity. And we are happy to also join, or rather we are happy to have UNDP as our partner.
Earlier, while meeting with a delegation from the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights, Julius Bitok expressed the government's commitment in implementing the Ushirika Plan, which seeks to shift the approach to refugee management by transforming refugee camps into integrated settlements for both refugees and host communities.
The government of Kenya is ready, and that is why right now as we speak, both the Turkana County municipality and the Garissa County municipalities.
Parsai Frederick, Lunchtime News.
Public service vehicle operators have embarked on a plan to establish a driving school for PSV drivers in a bid to complement efforts by the government to enhance road safety. Matatu Owners Association Chairman Albert Karagacha has urged PSV drivers to ensure safety on the roads and dismissed attempts by the government to regulate the fares. They argue the industry is self-regulating. Additionally, they have maintained the suspended retraining of PSV drivers by the National Transport Authority was not consultative.
Tutakuwa na shule ya kutrain madereva wa matatu, kwa sababu ukiangalia hatuna shule ya kutrain madereva wa matatu. Tukiweza kutrain madereva wa matatu, mambo ya ajali itarudi chini. Tumesema mambo ya bus fare wataangalia, lakini watu waweze kuelewa kuwa mafuta imepanda. Tutalipisha kulingana na vile vitu zimepanda juu, lakini make sure that tunaangalia moderate. Hatutakuwa ile ya kuumiza watu.
Any driver is certified has to go through NTSA for credibility. Now the biggest question is this: even if you're going to retrain, where is the National School of Public Transportation? And that's why our chairman has come with this genius proposal, and we're seeking collaboration with the government to make sure such an institution it is established so that all of us can participate.
Laikipia East Deputy County Commissioner Patrick Muli has warned residents against invading private property following destruction of about an 8-kilometer electric fence belonging to the Agriculture Development Corporation Mutura Ranch. The administrator said plans were underway to heighten security in the area through deployment of National Police Reservice in an effort to curb human-wildlife conflict. On the other hand, residents decried being sidelined on job opportunities by local ranchers and called on the county government to intervene.
Tunaona tukiwa na hatuna hiyo fence, kuna shida ya wanyama pori ambao wataanza kusumbua wananchi. Tumewatayarisha kwamba hiyo ni mpango ambayo itakuja kuwasumbua wenyewe, na tumekubaliana kwamba hakuna mambo ya destruction of the fence, na ile ingine tumeongea mambo kuhusu jinsi security hapa tunaweza improve.
Vijana tunapoenda kutafuta kazi hatupati, lakini ningeomba serikali iweze kuingilia kati nasi pia tuweze kusaidika kupata kazi, kwa maana hatuna mali nyingine tunaweza saidika, ni hapa ni hizi maranji tu.
Now, the youth in Embu County have been urged to embrace digital platforms to create and expose their talents and tap into employment opportunities available on the digital space. Speaking at Makina in Mwea Sub-County, Embu County, during the celebrations to mark the International Youth Day, leaders observed that many talented young people spend most of their time consuming content that is generated by others instead of utilizing the same to create content that can grow them.
Ukiingia hiyo YouTube, usiende kuangalia vitu zenye hazikusaidii. Ingia hapo, labda you're interested in technology. Unataka kukua graphic designer, lakini hujapata hiyo nafasi ya kwenda shule. So what do? Ukiingia YouTube, unapata a lot of your content.
Expose your talent. I will not come asking you, wewe unajua kucheza dance, wewe unajua kucheza mpira. I will only recognize yule mwenye ambaye tayari amejitokeza. Tunaelewana? Please expose that which you know.
Is a sigh of relief to residents in Sesian Village, Samburu East constituency, after Samburu County government, in joint collaboration with Water Trust, launched a multi-million dam water project worth 50 million shillings. The dam will curb water challenges that have been experienced in the area due to prolonged droughts.
It has been 4 years of suffering for residents in Samburu East constituency from lack of water due to the prolonged drought that has turned the area into arid and semi-arid fields, claiming lives of most of their livestock. The area governor, Jonathan Lati, assured that the dam being sunk has the capacity to serve the whole location and to the neighboring villages.
Maji ndio center kila kitu. Maji ni muhimu kwa kila kitu. Hapa ukiwa na maji utapata security. Because wakati ya jilali watu wanapigania maji. So it's a security issue. Maji kipatikana kwa karibu, watoto wanaenda shule.
Echoing the sentiments, Samburu Sawasco Director Paul Leringato said that the water project will serve over 1,400 households in the area.
Tunajaribu kuangalia time frame of 20 years to come. Tunatarajia kwamba because of water availability, population will increase, school enrollment will increase, so many things will change positively.
The area women representative Pauline Lengoris lauded the project since it will give an opportunity for women to engage in other activities while school-going children will have ample time to study.
Na niko na matumaini na matarajio kwamba project hii ile design tumeonyeshwa na vile tulielezewa na engineers na Water Service Trust Fund itaenda kukamilika na hakuna kitu itaenda kubadilika. Sisi the end product ile tunataka kuona ni maji na hawa kina mama wafurahi.
Water Trust Fund pledged to expand the project to 8 other counties in order to mitigate drought emergencies. Brian Onsom reporting for Lunchtime News.
More than 100 women from Lodariak village, Kajedo West sub-county have benefited from a free training course on entrepreneurship skills. The women aged between 18 and 50 years have been attending classes for the last 8 months, courtesy of non-governmental organizations championing for women's economic liberalization. According to the organizers, the women have undergone training in money management, business opportunities, including modern beadworks and agribusiness. Participants lauded the program, saying it has been an eye-opener on what economic opportunities to tap into.
We never knew all about businesses, but the moment tulisoma hiyo kitabu, we get all that knowledge.
Hawa masiwa wanapuza wa mama, lakini sasa venye tumeingia hii darasa, tukajua mama ataifanya vitu mingi ya kusaidia.
Wamefikisha kiwango cha kuweza kupata micro loans ambazo kwa sasa kwa hiki kikundi zitakuwa 0% interest.
We just mingle around in ourselves, but we have no market. So our prayer is if you can get a market, we really appreciate.
26 minutes past the hour. We are taking our first commercial break. We'll be back with more news, including ones making headlines in the world of business and sports. Stay with us.
Vijana chapakazi wenye nguvu za ziada.
My youth, uko na talent ya kusing, spoken word, kucompose jingles ama any other unexploited artistic talent. Gava through Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy na KBC sasa wamekama up na project ya kupromote usanii called Studio Mashinani. Hizi ni studios ziko grassroots and they are fitted with high quality state-of-the-art equipment where you can produce quality audio and video music content for free. What's more, wanaoffer mentorship na talanta yako itakuwa promoted on KBC Channel 1 TV, Y254 na radio stations za KBC. Tembelea Studio Mashinani huko Comarox, Langata, Sauti House Mombasa, Kirwara huko Gatanga, Kitui next to Manyanyoni Chiefs Camp na Kisumu City wako hapo KBC Station. Usilalie talent. This is your chance to commercialize and popularize your talent through Studio Mashinani.
What's in your kitchen? A show that celebrates Kenyan and African dishes.
Rusha.
Wait.
Be careful. Yes, because I've seen some fire jump there. That is called flambéing. Flambéing. So tukiona moto tujue ni flambéing. Crushed methi seeds. Kila siku soma kitu mpya. Mchele wetu iko sawa. Hii iko sawa. Tumalize sasa ni kwenda tukule na pima.
Hii ni chakula mzuri sana.
Nzito kabisa. Salivate this delicious meal on your screen while taking notes for the recipe. Don't miss What's in Your Kitchen on KBC.
Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. You are watching the Lunchtime News. Now, forging is a manufacturing process involving the shaping of metal through hammering, pressing, or rolling. Though the process has undergone numerous technological advancements in recent years, some ironsmiths like George Osindi are still holding onto the traditional methods. Edward Kabasa spent time with the craftsman and sought to find out how he manages to remain relevant in the fast-paced industry.
It's early Wednesday in Palamarket in Karachuonyo constituency, and George Osinde is already hammering away. This father of 7 is one among the few remaining blacksmiths still forging iron in Homa Bay County.
This job is not fit for alcoholics. Second, it needs a dedicated and honest person. That's how you keep customers coming. Otherwise, they won't come.
For more than 3 decades, George Orosende, as he is commonly referred to here, has been the savior of many farmers through this centuries-old craft.
Whenever he fixes my plow, it works even better than a tractor. All I need are bulls to pull the plow.
George repairs ox plows, hoes, axes, and other farm tools and equipment.
He knows how to forge farm hoes. I have been bringing him a digging bar to forge since the 1980s.
Forging is a manufacturing process involving the shaping of metal through hammering, pressing, or rolling. Despite technological advancements in the trade, George says he has learned to forge his own path and remain relevant in the fast-paced industry.
I am in no direct competition with the welders because they do not have the skill to repair such equipment. They can only fix a broken iron by welding it. They have no knowledge on servicing the plows. They always bring them back to me.
George uses a bicycle system to manually propel a fan, which then blows air into the burning charcoal to heat the metal and soften it to make it easier to forge.
It's It's almost impossible to forge cold iron, however small it is. But when you heat it in fire, it only needs a little effort to forge. We love him for his honesty and professionalism because he always delivers on his promises.
George says he has used this skill handed down by his father to educate all his children, though none of them is keen on this labor-intensive career. Similarly, George says that not a single young man or woman has approached him with a desire to learn how to forge iron.
The young folk believe this is a difficult job, so they keep away. They dread hard work.
George says he's not bothered by the idea that he may be the last ironsmith in his lineage, but it would be an honor to hand it down to someone, even if it's not in the family. He says he intends to work these metals until there's no more strength left in him.
Thank you, Kabasa. Now, across the borders, 2 years after the Taliban came into power in Afghanistan, not a single country has formally recognized their rule. Engaging with the Taliban government remains deeply controversial. This and more in the International News Roundup.
As the world struggles to decide how to deal with Afghanistan's new rulers, women's rights in the country remain a front line for political battles. The Taliban are reported to be putting pressure on women seeking recognition from the international community. One of the beauticians at a salon says she was forced underground 2 weeks ago after the government ordered all women's beauty parlors to shut down. It is the latest in a seemingly endless raft of decrees restricting the lives and liberties of Afghan women and girls. Meanwhile, as tens of thousands of Israelis continue to join weekly protests over the government's highly controversial plans to change the justice system, as many as 1 in 3 citizens is thinking of leaving the country, according to a poll. Among the crowds blowing horns and waving Israeli flags on Tel Aviv's Kaplan Street, there is fury at legislation being passed to limit the power of the Supreme Court. Protesters believe it endangers democracy. The expected negative economic fallout of the government's judicial changes and rising living costs are also push factors.
Thus, welcome to Channel 1 Business News. The construction of a modern Isiolo Mid-City Special Economic Zone is expected to start soon. The multi-billion shilling facility is meant to transform the economy of northern Kenya. Isiolo County Trade Executive Lawrence Wongela says the integrated industrial complex spanning over 500,000 acres will also include animal feedstock zones, abattoirs, and a leather park, and also a bioenergy plant. Our reporter Frederick Moki has more details.
Plans to construct an industrial meat complex in the northern Kenya has been on card for a long time now, with the plans facing major delays due to lack of funds and bureaucracy. Last month, the government announced that the project will be undertaken through a public-private partnership. The Isiolo Mid-City Special Economic Zone will have a capacity of slaughtering 10,000 cows, 15,000 goats and sheep, and 5,000 camels a day.
Kama ngozi ingekuwa na market, at least hiyo ngozi at the end of the day unaweza kuta akona kakitu anafichwa. Kwa mwisho wa mwezi anapata kakitu kanaweza mlipia nyumba, kanaweza hata saa nyingine kumlipia hata nyumba na anakaa.
Isiolo County Trade Executive Lawrence Wongela says the government has already secured a reliable market for the abattoirs, meat and meat products in Europe, China and the Middle East countries.
We are telling the youth and also even other industry players, and more so the people who are keeping camel to produce a lot of milk, because camel milk is quite unique in the area. It gives us a comparative advantage. And also there is Nyeri, which is going to be processed in this county and regional industrial park.
Isiolo County government has launched a campaign encouraging livestock keepers to explore and invest in modern meat processing technologies in a bid to enhance the efficiency of meat processing, reduce waste and adopt more environmentally friendly practices.
There'll be more income, there'll be more money in their pockets, and that is good. And that money can be brought back for them to expand the livestock industry in Isiolo County.
Mongela says livestock keepers will benefit from improved profitability and reduced waste, as efficient meat processing will lead to higher quality products and better market access. As the government continues stepping up efforts of addressing unemployment from the grassroots levels, residents of Shabora in Isiolo County believe that the proposed county aggregation industrial parks will play a vital role in helping to address the gaps facing the sector, which will help reduce the rate of dependency and therefore revitalize Kenya's economy. Frederick Muki for Lunchtime News.
The distribution of 7 tons of biotech cotton seeds has begun in Busia County, targeting 12,000 farmers in the pilot phase. The first harvest of the BT cotton planting program, which is being implemented under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, is expected in 6 months, where the target is to double the current yield per acre from 400 kilograms up to 800 kilograms. The seeds are being distributed to farmers free of charge through cooperative societies, which have also signed a contract with Rivertex East Africa to offtake all their cotton after harvesting.
Mbegu ambayo tumepewa leo ya pamba itatusaidia kwa sababu ukulima wa pamba imekuwa hapo zamani na ilikuwa imefifia kwa sababu hatukuwa tunapata mbegu. Na kwa sasa vile tumepata mbegu, hiyo ukulima inaenda kuendelea vizuri na wakulima wanaenda kuwa wengi.
Kilimo cha pamba ndio kimekuwa uti wa mgongo katika maisha yetu ya Busia as a whole, na katika economical transformation. Hii ndio ya muhimu sana katika kusimamia economical transformation katika Busia County.
Ilikuwa ngumu sana kuconvince mkulima pamba anunue hiyo mbegu at a cost of 3,000 shillings alafu na apande. Sasa vile tumepewa free, tumefurahia sisi sana kama wakulima.
We decided to change or transform cooperatives into multi-value chain, so that on different seasons we have the cooperative running on different value chains. The 11 ward cooperatives have registered their members who have agreed to plant cotton.
Mama ama mzee ama kijana wakipanda hiyo pamba, wakivuna, unajua itakuwa ni pesa tayari mfukoni. Kuliko mtu kukaa na hana tegemeo penye anategemea. Na hiyo sasa ukulima wa pamba wa mama anataka sana, hata wa mama mzee anataka hiyo mbegu.
Sasa Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto vile amekuja na mpango huu, hatuna budi kumuunga mkono kwa dhati kabisa 100%, kwa sababu yeye ameweza kutimiza ndoto yetu.
We do an agreement with the farmer, the GINA, and ourselves. So there will be 3 parties involved. With the arrangement with the cooperative bank, they will pay the farmer, and at the same time they will pay the lean cotton. And then they will give us a payment period, of which in this case we have agreed 60 to 90 days to pay.
When they join the ward cooperative, they will be able to access first input. The subsidized fertilizer will come through the ward cooperative. Number 2, they will be able to access the medical cover. It will be done through the cooperative because they are supplying their products through the cooperative. The cooperative can do an upfront payment for them.
Currently we are running the factory at 47-50%, just because we are importing cotton. For us now to step in, to be involved in cotton growing is a big step for us, because it definitely will make sure, first of all, we have sustainability of raw material, which is cotton. At the same time, our prices will be competitive locally.
Tumesema ya kwamba tukienda mbele tunataka kuweka mazao la pamba nguvu mpya, tuwe na mbegu mpya ambayo inaitwa BT cotton.
Mtu kama huyo tena ni nani? Nashukuru sana Rais Ruto kwa vile ameona ukulima wa pamba huku upande wa Western imekuwa kitu ya muhimu na inaweza kuinua jamii kwa jumla. Hata watoto shuleni wataendelea kusoma.
Vile aliahidi, alionyesha kwamba yuko na mahasla, na sisi kama wakulima tuko na yeye, kwa maana tumeona kwamba yeye sio mtu wa kusema uongo kulingana na vile watu walikuwa nafikiria. Tuachukua kofia na tunapigia asante kwa njia kipekee.
Hakika alituahidi kwamba anapoenda atainua watu wa chini. Na watu wa chini unajua ni sisi kama walimaji. Na sasa amejitahidi, ameamua na tupatia mbegu. Sisi tunamshukuru tu sana.
Renewed efforts by sea turtle conservationists in the protection of the endangered species are paying off as communities have embraced the safekeeping of turtle nesting sites. Through multi-stakeholder partnerships, it is hoped that the efforts to protect the endangered sea turtles population from being extinct will continue to bear fruit. Here now is our reporter Nduta Mokami with more details.
Green sea turtles are threatened by overharvesting of their eggs, hunting of adults, being caught in fishing gear, and loss of nesting beach sites. Green turtle hatchlings emerge from their sandy nest to venture into the ocean and hopefully help the declining population regain some strength. The endangered wildlife turtles remain a keystone species and contribute to the thriving of the coastal ecosystem, and as such, efforts to conserve and protect them impact other ecosystems positively. According to the Kenya Wildlife Service, there are 7 species of sea turtles. 5 are found in Kenya's coastlines, namely the green turtle, hawksbill turtle, loggerhead turtle, olive ridley's turtle, and the leatherback turtle. The 5 species are endangered, with the green turtle species being the most exploited of them all.
Kasa ni moja katika viumbe ambavyo vimehatarishwa sana katika mazingira. Watu wamechafua mazingira, na kuna baadhi ya watu ambao walikuwa wanawashika zamani katika hali ya kuwavua, na tunawashukuru sana KWS kujaribu kulinda mazingira haya na kuweza kuwaweka hawa wanyama ambao pia ili kusudi vizazi vinavyokuja waweze kuja kuwatambua pia. Asante.
Marine experts say there is need to ramp up sensitization and awareness among local communities in order to debunk traditional beliefs that have been a source of the declining population. Additionally, they noted that plastic waste management still constituted a major threat that needs to be addressed in community forums.
We have been encouraging also local community to step up and support this initiative, as we have also been involved in education and awareness. Many times we have been sensitizing, especially the youth, to step up. And it is interesting now that even the community are embracing this initiative.
Calls to preserve the creatures' habitats from human activities remain a top priority, as the released green sea turtle hatchlings can migrate to as far as Mauritius and return after 25 years to hatch.
Unaona kasa ni wameenea katika hii bahari yetu, na ni katika kiumbe ambaye anapatikana sana hapa kwetu, lakini hatari ni kuwa huyu kasa akishatoka hapa, akishazaliwa hivi, atakaa miaka 25 kabla hajarudi hapa kutaga mayai tena. Na wanasifa kuwa pale alipozaliwa atarudi pale pale kutaga mayai. Sasa hawa tumewatoa hapa leo baada ya miaka 25. Tunatarajia watarudi hapa waje watage mayai.
Under the Early Bird Banda Protection Program, over 1,000 hatchlings have been released to the sea from March this year as a result of an informed community. The number is set to increase in efforts to boost declining numbers and conserve the marine ecosystem. Ndusamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
Still in business news, savings and credit cooperative societies are undergoing major loan restructuring to accommodate new taxes under the Finance Act 2023. Cooperative Alliance of Kenya Chief Executive Officer Daniel Marube says members have been forced to apply for loan moratorium and extension of loan repayment as the new act is expected to affect their ability to pay loans.
The Savings and Credit Cooperative Societies management say they are facing major loan restructuring due to the new tax measures contained in the Finance Act 2023. The SACCOs say the Act contains additional taxes that will affect the repayment of members' loans due to reduced dispensable incomes. Cooperative Alliance of Kenya CAK says the loan book restructuring will also be in line with the Employment Act that requires an employee to take home not less than a third of the salary.
When we are going to increase the 1% on the salary on the housing for each of our employees, that means it's a cost to us, it's an increase on our cost, and remember, our costs are only approved through the AGM.
It basically means that SACCO deductions will fall off. So already we can foresee a case of loan default going up.
To mitigate against reduced deposits from customers due to reduced savings from members, SACCOs have been advised to encourage their members to channel their salaries through the SACCOs to increase their revenue streams.
So where we are going to, we expect to see a movement is our members coming to us to buy their loans, the most expensive loans from their commercial bank.
The SACCOs have also been advised to embark on membership drives to increase membership and grow their loan books.
The SACCO Society is now calling on the government to partner with other organizations to enhance corporate social responsibility as a way of boosting community development. Speaking at St. Monica Catholic Church in Kitengela, Kajiado County, the Society Chairman Edmond Okari urged the Catholic faithful to join the SACCO to access affordable credit for development projects. He spoke after issuing a loan facility worth 65 million shillings meant for development projects for the church.
Ours is mainly to empower our Catholic faithfuls and indeed all our members economically, so that we give them an opportunity to save and also to access affordable credit for their own development projects.
Wito wetu ni kwa wote ambao wanaweza kujiunga nasi, tunawakaribisha ili mradi kwa pamoja tuweze kuimarisha uchumi wa taifa letu, tuisaidie serikali katika kuboresha mambo, wananchi na watu wa kawaida tuweze kuishi katika hali nzuri.
It has been a long journey of over a year. We have been praying over it, and today actually we thank God with the presence of the Waumini team for this milestone that you have made to get the facility so that you can embark on now expanding the community.
India is stepping up efforts to boost local manufacturing of electronic goods as it seeks to capitalize on demand from global companies that are looking beyond China for production. The South Asian country aims at seizing the opportunity to expand its homegrown electronics industry, and here now are the details on this and more across the globe.
Earlier this month, India restricted imports of laptops, tablets and personal computers in a move aimed at helping the industry grow. The government announced new rules that require companies to secure licenses before importing products, including laptops, tablets, personal computers and servers into the country. Previously, there was no requirement for such licenses. The move will affect some of the world's most popular brands, such as Apple and Samsung. The latest regulations were originally meant to come into effect immediately when they were announced on August the 3rd, but New Delhi the next day backtracked and deferred the decision, which had been met with great surprise and confusion by the industry as companies scrambled to try and establish what they needed to do to comply with the rules. Companies now have until November the 1st when the licensing rules will come into force. Elsewhere, as the world's leading rice producer, China's agriculture sector is currently grappling with the potential fallout of heavy rainfall and looming flood risks. These adverse weather conditions, particularly in the country's grain-producing northeastern region, are likely to result in reduced crop yields. This reduction in turn could exert upward pressure on the already soaring global rice prices. The flood alert levels have been elevated for 3 provinces, which account for approximately 23% of China's total rice output. The country, which is the world's second largest economy, has been experiencing devastating floods in recent weeks, with Typhoon Doksuri being one of the worst storms to hit northern China in years. The anticipated reduction in crop yields is expected to inflate China's domestic grain prices and potentially drive higher imports in the second half of 2023 to partially offset potential yield loss. Finally, an Australian court has fined Dell Australia $6.5 million for misleading customers about discounts on computer products. The federal court found that Dell Australia had engaged in misleading and deceptive conduct by advertising discounts on computer products that were not actually available. The court found that Dell Australia had made false or misleading representations about the availability of discounts on its website and its marketing materials. In addition, the court also found that Dell Australia had failed to take reasonable steps to ensure that its employees were aware of the company's policies on discounts. As a result, Dell Australia's employees misled customers about the availability of discounts. The fine of $6.5 million is also significant, making it one of the largest fines ever imposed by an Australian court for misleading and deceptive conduct.
Time for us to get to the fields, and in sports, the Kenya national athletics team for the 2023 World Athletics Championships will leave the country tonight for Budapest ahead of the global event sent to be held from 19th to 27th August in Hungary. The team was flagged off last week by Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba.
Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon and Diamond League winner Nicholas Kimeli are part of the 54-member team that will represent Kenya at the World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary. Africa's fastest man, Ferdinand Omanyala, will be Kenya's sole representative in the men's 100 meters and intends to be the first African to win a gold medal at the global showpiece. Faith Kipyegon, meanwhile, will be competing in the 1500 meters with the hope of retaining her world title just after breaking the world record in the same event in June. She will enjoy the company of youngster Nelly Chepchirchir, World Under-20 champion Brenda Chebet and Edina Jepitok. The team has been in a 3-week residential training camp at the Kasarani Stadium, and the first batch of the team leaves for Budapest tonight. Kenya hopes to better their previous outing in Oregon last year, when they collected a total of 10 medals, 2 gold, 5 silver and 3 bronze medals.
Defending champions Barcelona were held to barren draw by Getafe in their first match of the new La Liga season at Coliseum Alfonso Arena in France. Strasbourg beat Olympique Lyon 2-1.
Delivery, Rafinha goes for goal, it's pushed out.
Former Manchester City captain Ike Gundogan made his La Liga debut for Barcelona as the defending champions were held to a barren draw by Getafe in the opening game played at Coliseum Alfonso Arena. The bad-tempered game saw Barcelona player Rafinha and manager Xavi sent off. In another match, Willian Jose scored a last-minute goal as Real Betis beat Villarreal 2. Jose, however, scored late to give Real Betis the maximum points. In France, Strasbourg beat Olympique Lyon 2-1.
The footballing revolution after his 20-goal haul last term. A lot of goals to replace, but Lebo Moti.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Fred Njogu.
In the perfect place at the back post. Now scored in each of his...
All right,